Hello everyone. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Again, I'm sorry for recording this lecture instead. Alam niyo naman po, we've got a lot of activities going on, meaning in Alabang, especially yung ating pong uh, yung ladies conference, yung Bloom, and also some preparations for the upcoming Level Up X LNS. So medyo abala tayo ng konti, but I hope you understand, and I hope na ito pong lecture na ito ay patuloy po na makatulong sa atin sa pag-unawa po natin ng lengguwahe na Greek. We are down to our last two lessons. So after this, we will have one more. That's gonna be our last lesson. Yung huli po, yung dalawang lessons na na-miss natin. Again, sabi ko nga po sa huling lecture, utang ko po yun sa inyo. I mean, it's my fault. So hindi ko na po kayo i-stress pa ng dalawa pang lesson. So just give me one more lesson. Next week, I'm gonna meet you via Zoom. So we will have a live lecture. And then after that, magmi-meet na lang po tayo ng isang beses pa for the final exam. All right? So yung mga nakapag-submit na po ng kanilang mga quizzes, salamat po ng marami for complying sa inyo sa deadline po na naset. Those of you na hindi pa po nakakapag-submit, I'll still accept it. Tatanggapin ko po 'yon, pero of course, just to be fair, doon po sa nakapag-submit ng maaga, magde-deduct po tayo ng at least siguro 1 point, okay, or 2 points doon po sa inyong sa inyo pong score sa quiz natin na yan. For this week, we will not have a quiz. So, spare ko po muna kayo ng stress sa pag-aaral dun sa ating last lecture. We're not gonna have a quiz. Pero, when we meet next Saturday po, that's gonna be, supposedly tomorrow po, basta next Saturday po, when we meet for our 10th and last session, tayo po ay magkakaroon ng quiz about this particular lesson. So I want you to be ready. Okay, mag-aral po tayo para po sa quiz na yan. So we'll continue with our lesson. We are now in the 9th session. Tayo po muna yung manalangin bago tayo magpatuloy. Panginoon, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na kami po ay maaari magpatuloy ng aming pag-aaral ito po sa Greek language. I pray, Lord, as we now get into the lesson, kami po ay samahan ninyo. Allow us, Lord, to understand the things that we're gonna learn today. Tayaan niyo, Panginoon, na makita rin namin, Lord, yung relevance, yung importance ng pag-aaral na ito at may apply namin, Panginoon, sa amin pong mga ministeryo bilang inyo pong bilang mga teachers and preachers of the word. Salamat, Panginoon. I pray that you bless every student in this class. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. So in our last lesson, we talked about the third declension. So na-cover na po natin yung tatlong declension. So we have the first and the second. Yung tulad po ng natutunan natin, di ba, the first declension, it's more on feminine nouns. All right, and the second declension is more on the masculine nouns, while the third declensions, ito po ay they could be masculine, they could be feminine, pero basically ang pagkakaiba lang po ng nouns na ito na nasa third declension ay yung kanila pong kanilang endings, di ba? Most of them, actually, all of them end with a consonant letter. Unlike the first and the second declensions na nagtatapos po mostly sa vowels. So yun lang po ang kanilang differences. So pagdating po doon sa forms, yung mga cases, 'di ba? Medyo doon lang po siya nagkaroon ng konting complications kasi nga compared doon sa first and second declension, medyo familiar na tayo doon sa pattern, familiar na tayo doon sa inaaral natin na yun. So ngayon nadagdag yung third declension, nagkaroon tayo ng another paradigm na kailangan pong i-familiarize. But again, as you continue with your study, and I hope na even after po ng course na ito sa MAP, kayo po ay patuloy na mag-aaral. We have just scratched the surface of the Greek language. We even have not really got into gotten into the study of the verb. Yung po isa pang komplikado rin na pag-aaral. So I really hope since you have the books and yung book naman po ay very easy to understand. So I really hope na pagpatuloy niyo po ang inyong pag-aaral. And if ever po you have questions, you can always ask me naman po. So today we will talk about the first and second person personal pronouns. So we already covered the discussion about, nouns and adjectives and prepositions. Now po, we will talk about personal pronouns. So at least yung first and second person personal pronouns. So in this chapter, first we will learn the first and the second person personal pronouns. Tawag dito, i-discuss pa po natin yan ng konti. No? Titingnan natin yung ano ba siya sa English, tapos ano siya sa Greek. And then that a pronoun's case is determined by its function in the sentence, just like a noun. And that a pronoun's number is determined by its antecedent. Ano ba tong antecedent na to? Malalaman din po natin mamaya. And finally, we will learn more about the, third declension patterns. So first, let's look at what a pronoun is in the English language para po meron tayong foundation ng ating po pinag-aaralan, because later you will see na yung function po ng pronoun sa English at yung function po ng pronoun sa Greek ay talaga naman similar lang po. Okay? So it's good that we get the basic information doon po sa English language, and then tsaka po tayo tatalon doon sa Greek. First, a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So, example po, it is red. Dito po sa halimbawa na to, makikita nyo, the pronoun it is used here to replace, okay, or, take the place of a particular noun. So, ito pong it na to, for example, let's say car, okay, or, lagyan natin ng article dito para medyo specific, no? Let's say, ayan. So, if we have the sentence, the car is red. Now, ito pong pronoun dito na it replaces or it takes the place of the noun car in this sentence. Okay, so the pronoun it is a pronoun referring back to something. At dito po sa example natin, ang kanya pong nire-refer ay yung noun na car. So a personal pronoun is a pronoun that replaces a noun referring to a person. Kaya sa tinawag po na personal pronoun, ito po yung mga nouns na ginagamit para po i-replace ang noun, okay? Or noun na ginagamit po to refer to a person, tao po. Okay? So for example here, we have the sentence, my name is Bill. So sabi nito, I will learn Greek as well as possible. Here you will see the pronoun I is a personal pronoun and it refers to the name or to the person which is called or named Bill. So yan po ang ibig sabihin ng personal pronoun, no, para lang maintindihan natin, kasi mamaya titignan natin yan, yung personal pronoun. Bakit ba siya personal pronoun? So tandaan lang po natin na pag sinabi nating personal pronoun, ito po yung mga nouns na ginagamit in place of nouns referring to a person. All right? The word that a pronoun refers back to in this example is Bill, and this is what we call the antecedent. All right? So doon sa sentence natin, for example, my name is Bill. All right, and then the second sentence is, I will learn Greek as well as possible. So in the first example, we know that the word Bill, okay, here's the noun, and then in the second sentence, instead of using the same noun, pinalitan po natin ng pronoun. So yung pronoun po na I, it's a personal pronoun and it is referring to the noun Bill. Now in this example, okay, Bill now serves as the antecedent, okay, ng pronoun. Okay, ibig sabihin lang, kung ano po yung pinapalitan, okay, ano po yung pinapalitan ng pronoun sa pangungusap, okay, yun po yung tinatawag nating antecedent. Okay, so that's I think the most simple explanation for the term antecedent. Person. Now, pronouns can be first person, second person, or third person. So nakita rin naman natin yan, no? Alam na natin yan. So first person, when you say first person, it refers to the person speaking. Okay, kung sino yung speaker. So dalawa lang yan sa English, no, yung I at saka yung we. Now, when you talk about the second person pronouns, we are referring to the person being spoken to. So kung ako po ang first person, kayo po ang second person kasi kayo yung kausap ko. So makikita nyo po, both for the singular and the plural pronoun, personal pronoun, ang gamit po natin ay you. And now, the third person here refers to all the others. So kung ako po ang first person dahil ako yung nagsasalita at kayo po yung second person dahil kayo yung kausap ko, now all the other people na hindi po involved dun sa ating conversation, they are what we call the third person. So sa English po, ang ginagamit nating pronouns for the third person ay yung mga pronouns na he, she, it, at saka they. So notice how highly inflected the English pronoun is. Pronouns are radically changed depending upon their function. Kakaunti lang po yan. We only have 7 or 8 pronouns. Okay, in English language, sinabi ko pong 8 kasi yung you functions two ways, singular and plural. So basically, we have 8 pronouns in English. Although medyo kita nyo nagbabago-bago yung talagang hindi siya basta lang sa form nagbabago. Talagang yung salita, pinapalitan natin, depende po sa function. It's fine dahil hindi naman po ganun kahirap i-memorize yung mga pronouns na meron tayo sa English. There's no easy way to distinguish between second person singular and plural. Some grammars retain the old thou and ye. So thou is the singular and ye is the plural. So tayo po, ako personally, I'm not so familiar with the English, Old English. Okay, so I do not have much to say about ito pong mga old English na ito, but we will focus on the 8 pronouns that we have in the English grammar. Now, let's talk about the case, number, and person. So, the case of a pronoun is determined by its function in the sentence. So, yung case niya, so ito ba ay nominative, ito ba ay accusative, okay, kung subject ba ito o kung object ba ito, yun yung tinutukoy natin dito, no? Its number and person by its antecedent. So, yung case daw po ng pronoun is determined by its function in the sentence. Now, yung number po niya at yung person ay dinidiktahan ng antecedent. So, balikan natin example kanina, no? 'Di ba yung my name is Bill and I study Greek very well. So, yung word po, yung noun na Bill, that's the antecedent. So, sinasabi po rito na yung pronoun na ating gagamitin, yung number niya, kung ito ba ay singular o plural, o kaya yung person niya, okay, kung ito dapat ba I, we, so on and so forth. Nakadepende daw po iyon sa antecedent. So, balikan lang po natin, no? For example, ang ginamit natin na noun ay yung noun o yung name na Bill. So, kung papalitan po natin, kung gagamit po tayo ng pronoun, okay? So, yung number ng pronoun ay magdidepende dun sa antecedent. So, kung singular ba o plural. Now, since Bill is just one person, so it gives us the clue that the pronoun na kailangan po natin gamitin ay singular din. Alright? And yung person po, so makikita nyo po, yung person niya rito ay Bill. So basically, kung first person po, kung siya yung speaker at singular lang naman siya, ang gagamitin natin ay. Pero kung siya po ay third person, okay, hindi siya yung nagsasalita at hindi siya yung kausap. So ibig sabihin third person siya. So pwede po natin, dahil ito po ay lalaki, pwede po natin gamitin o ang tamang word po o pronoun na ginagamit natin ay yung he. Now, for example, meron tayong dalawang antecedent. All right? So Bill and gamitin ko na po yung name ko, Toto. Okay, Bill and Toto. Now here, meron tayo kung number po ang pag-uusapan natin, dahil dalawa po yan, it tells us na dapat plural pronoun. Plural personal pronoun ang gagamitin natin. Now, yung pagdating naman po sa person, dahil dalawa na nga rin po iyan, okay, kung ang dalawa pong ito ay sila yung subject. Okay, sila yung subject, sila first person sila yung nagsasalita. So ang gagamitin po natin diyan ay we. Okay? Pero kung sila po ay second person, sila yung kausap, then ang gagamitin po natin dyan ay you. Okay? Pero kung hindi po sila yung nagsasalita at hindi sila yung kausap, then ang ginagamit po natin ay they, o ito po yung nasa third person pronoun. So basically, makita nyo po, it's really easy lang naman po to understand, no? Yung case, number, and person. So just remember na yung case, number, at yung person po ng pronoun na gagamitin natin ay nakadepende doon sa antecedent. Okay? O yung noun na pinapalitan natin ng pronoun. So let's look at this. The case of a pronoun is determined by its function in the sentence. For example, if the pronoun is the subject of the sentence, then you would use the pronouns I and not me. Okay, since I is in the subjective case. Okay, so ibig sabihin kung yung noun daw po, for example, Bill is singing. Okay, so yung subject po natin doon ay yung Bill. And obviously, the noun Bill is in the third person. So papalitan natin siya dahil siya po ay nasa subject siya ng pangungusap, ang tamang pronoun po na gamitin ay he. Okay? So ganyan po. So you would not say me would like to eat now because me is objective. So hindi po natin pwedeng gamitin yung pronoun na me dahil nga po yung sentence, ang hinihingi po ay subjective pronoun. And the right word, okay, or right pronoun to use here is the pronoun I. So this is different from an attributive adjective which determines its case by the word it is modifying. A pronoun except in the genitive does not modify a word. So pagdating naman po sa number, the number of the pronoun is determined by the antecedent. So because Bill is singular, you would use I and not we. All right? So the person of the pronoun is determined by the antecedent. So yan po yung sinasabi natin kanina. So if the antecedent was the person speaking or first person, then you use I, not you. There is no gender in the first and second person. So yung pagdating po sa I and you. So pwede po yan gamitin sa lalaki, pwede yan gamitin sa babae. So doesn't really matter. Okay? While the third person pronoun has gender, dito po tayo merong ginagamit na he, she, tsaka it. He sa lalaki, she sa babae, it para po sa bagay. Alright? So, tingnan niyo po yung English forms, no? Nasa English pa lang po tayo. Maya-maya po dadako tayo sa Greek pronouns po. So, subjective, possessive, and then objective. Okay, so in Greek po, this is nominative, this is genitive, and this is accusative. So, sa first person singular, you have I, my, and me. Second person singular, you have you, your, and you. First person plural, we have we, our, and us. Second person plural, you have you, your, and you. All right? So, dako na po tayo sa Greek. The Greek pronoun is similar to the English pronoun. So, they are very similar po. Makikita natin yan. First, just like the English counterpart, it replaces a noun. Also, its case is determined by its function in the sentence. Its number is also determined by its antecedent. And then first and second personal pronouns do not have gender. So makikita nyo po, no, they are very similar. Kaya kapag nauunawaan natin ng maayos ang gamit po ng pronouns, okay, ng personal pronouns sa English grammar, hindi po tayo magkakaroon ng problema sa pag-unawa naman ng personal pronouns pagdating po sa Greek language. So we have already learned some of these forms and I've seen many of them in the exercises. So na-encounter na natin sila doon sa mga ginamit po natin na halimbawa ng mga nakaraang lessons. No? They should be quite familiar and easy to learn. They follow third declension pattern. So ito po, take note ha, yung personal pronouns po, ang ginagamit natin po na pattern dyan ay yung pattern na katulad po doon sa third declension nouns. So the alternate forms in parentheses are discussed in 11.8. So makita po natin niya maya-maya because this lesson is now in chapter 11 of your book. So check it out. So ikita niyo po, so again, first person, ito po yung second person. So here are the cases, nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative for the singular. And this one is for the plural. Tingnan niyo po ha, I'm gonna read, so listen carefully and then follow later. I-disregard nyo po muna itong mga nasa parentheses. Mamaya po, tatalakayin natin yan kung ano ba yung mga yan, no? So, listen carefully and if you can, follow after me. Habang pinapanood nyo po ito, no, banggitin nyo rin po. So, for the first person, ego means I. Mu, that means my. Moi, to me. Me, me. Okay, for the nominative plural, so here you have heimeis, we, heimon, our, heimin, to us, and heimas means us. So ito po yung first person. Again, let me read this really quickly. Ego, mu, moi, me, heimeis, hemon, heimon, heimin, and heimas. For the second person, okay, first person, again, ito yung nagsasalita. So, basically, for the nominative, you have I and we. Second person, ito na po yung kausap. Alright? So, here, su, that's you. Su, okay, that's u pa rin po yung pronunciation. So, very similar, no? It means your. Soy means to you. Se means you. Okay, ito po yung nominative, ito po yung subject, accusative. So pareho po sila. Now, talon po tayo sa plural naman. First is humeis. Okay? Tandaan nyo ba ba't meron tayong H na dinadagdag? Kasi yung atin pong breathing mark dito ay rough, paloob po. Ibig sabihin, mag-a-add po tayo ng H doon sa simula. So that is read as humeis. Humeis means you. Next is humon, means your. Next is humin, means to you. And lastly, humas means you. Again, let me read this to you. Please follow and listen carefully, no? All right. Su. Oh, sorry. Okay. Su, soy, se, humeis, humon, humin, and humas. All right, so dito po sa first person, let me read again. Ego, mu, moi, me, himeis, hemon, heimin, and hemas. Right, so that's your personal pronouns, first person and second person. So characteristics of first and second person pronouns. So the form. Notice the many similarities among the case endings of the pronouns and the case endings for the nouns you have already learned. So again, may similarities. No? Tingnan nyo po, balikan natin yung mga pag-aaral natin sa nouns. Yung first, second, and third declensions. Makita nyo po, they are, the case endings are very similar to the case endings ng mga personal pronouns po. Example, the nominative, singular and plural, and accusative, the singular ones, are a little different, but the others are virtually identical with other third declension nouns. Now, in the plural, the first and second person personal pronouns are identical except for the first letter. So, balikan lang po natin quickly, no? Makikita nyo. So, plural ang pinag-uusapan natin, first and second person. Tingnan nyo po. So makikita nyo yung mga ending po niya. Huwag natin basahin muna yung simula na itong part na to. So it's me, is, mon, min, and mas. Sa second person po plural, ganoon din. Me, is, mon, min, and mas. Saan po sila nagkakaiba? Dito po sa simula. Sa simula po nakikita nyo, we have a rough ending, rough accent here, and it's an eta. Okay? With a rough accent. So it is read as hey. Okay? While here in the second person personal pronoun, ang ginagamit po natin ay upsilon with a rough breathing mark. So this one is read as who. So that's why ito po, yun lang ang pagkakaiba nila, yung first letter lang. So ito ay binabasang himeis, ito po ay basa na who meis. Hey, meis, this is who meis. Alright? So although there are many similarities among these forms and those you already know, some students prefer just to memorize this paradigm. So for some people, it's easier for them to memorize the paradigm itself kaysa tingnan yung mga ending, no? So whatever works for you guys, kung saan kayo pinakamadadalian, then that's really cool, okay, for me. Now, let's talk about accents. In the first person singular, the genitive, dative, and accusative cases will sometimes include an epsilon and an accent. Makita niyo po, emu, emoy, and eme. Ano ba itong mga to? The second person pronoun will not add an epsilon, but it can add an accent. So makita niyo po, no? Su with an accent here, soy with an accent here, and se with an accent here. Yan po yung kanina, kung natatandaan niyo po yung sinabi ko, itong mga nakaparenthesis na to, no? Okay, so makita niyo po sa first person, yung genitive natin mu, pero ito po may nakadagdag na epsilon. So mu, emu, moy, emoy, and me, eme. Alright? So ano ba yung mga yan? Ito ay tinatawag natin na emphatic forms. So what are these emphatic forms? The emphatic and unemphatic forms basically have the same meaning. Wala po silang pagkakaiba, pareho lang po. The emphatic form is used when the author wants to be especially emphatic. So ibig sabihin, kung gusto po ng author na lagyan ng emphasis o ng stress o ng bigat yung pronoun na kanyang gagamitin, doon po siya gumagamit ng emphatic forms. So instead of mu, ang gagamitin niya ay emu. Instead na se na walang accent, dahil gusto niya lagyan ng emphasis yun, lalagyan niya ng accent yung vowel, no? So just to show na yung may bigat, kumbaga. May bigat yung pagkakagamit ng pronoun na yun. Tingnan po natin itong sentence na to, no? Allow me to read this to you, no? Ego ebaptisa humas hudati autos de baptise humas en numati hagio. Okay? So again, ego ebaptisa humas hudati autos de baptise humas en numati hagio. So may kita po natin yung pronoun, no? Itong humas. Okay? And then another one here, humas. Nakita nyo po, in English, these words, itong word na humas na ito, it simply means you. Okay? Hindi siya I kasi ego po yung I. So, nakita nyo, so, ibig sabihin po, yung author, gusto niya pong bigyan ng emphasis yung word na you. Okay? Dito po sa sentence na ito. So, may kita nyo, no, how the accent marks, okay, how the accent marks give additional weight doon po sa ginagamit natin na salita. So, ang laking bagay po niyan. So, ito pong ego baptisa humas hudati autos de baptise humas en numati hagio. Ang ibig sabihin lamang po niyan ay I baptize you in water but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. So, if you know, okay, this is the line coming from John the Baptist when he was talking about Jesus Christ. So, yan po ang line niya. So, the contrast is usually difficult to bring into English. Pagdating po sa English, hindi ganun eh. Sa atin po mga Pilipino, hindi tayo masyadong particular sa mga stress na ganyan. Pero when you study American English, okay, especially talking about the accent, malaman nyo, makikita nyo po na sila, nabibigyan po nila ng stress yan. So, pagka binigyan po nila ng the in, yung particular word, ibig sabihin, yun po yung pinakasentro ng kanilang sinasabi. Sa Pilipino po, hindi ganun kahalata eh. Minsan ginagamit natin, but it's not really common. Alright? Now, parsing, yung pagpaparse po, ito yung paghahati-hati, no? Yung identify natin kung noun ba siya o pronoun, kung first person ba o second person. That's what you call parsing. So when asked to decline a first or second person personal pronoun, we suggest that you list the case, number. So ito po pag magpa-parse po, in case lang na gagawin natin to, no? You list the case, number, person, hindi po yung gender, hindi natin kailangan yung masculine or feminine. When we talk about pronouns, we will use the person and then the lexical form and the inflected meaning. Tignan nyo po, example, ito pong pronoun na su. Okay, so kung titignan natin case, it's genitive, right? Number, it's singular. Person, it's second person. Okay, so ano yung lexical form niya? The lexical form is su. and then the inflected meaning of you or your. So that's how you parse, okay, words. It applies, this way of parsing also applies to nouns. Basically, ganun din yan. So just put the case. Kung sinabi natin case, ano ba yan? Nominative ba yan? Genitive ba yan? Dative ba yan? Accusative ba yan? Number, singular ba o pronoun? Person, first person, second person, or third person. And then, yung lexical form, ibig sabihin po, if you remove the case ending, ano yung nakikita natin sa mga lexicon? Okay, ano yung pag nag-search tayo sa Bible Hub, ano ba yung lexical form? Ano yung lumalabas? That's what you call the lexical form. Okay, and then the inflected meaning, so it means of you. Bakit siya of you? Because genitive pronouns, they show possessions. Ang equivalent po niya sa English ay possessive pronouns. All right? So the lexical forms of the first and second person personal pronouns are nominative. Some teachers view ego as the lexical form of himeis, while others see himeis as a separate word. So the same holds true for humeis. So yung iba po, pag sinearch nila yung himeis, for them, dapat under lang siya ng ego. Okay, dapat nasa listahan lang siya. Pero for some people, they want it to be separated. So either way, wala namang effect yun sa meaning o sa ano ng words na yan. So it's fine. Translation procedure. So if the pronoun is the subject or direct object. So remember, subject, siya yung paksa. Direct object, siya yung tumatanggap ng action. Then treat it as you would any other subject or direct object. If it's in the genitive, treat it like any other possessive. So examples, tingnan nyo po ego, pisteu, logon, su. Okay? Ego, pisteu, logon, su. So it means, ego means I. Pisteo comes from the word pistis, the root word for faith, okay, which means believe. Then logon, it's in the accusative. Okay, accusative accusative noun, all right? It's an object, okay? So it means word, and then su is your personal pronoun, which is in the genitive. Okay, it means it shows possession. Kaya here, ang ginamit natin ay were, your. Hindi po tayo gumamit ng of you. Okay? Pwede naman yan, pero magbabago lang yung form. So, I believe the word of you. So, kailangan natin magdagdag. Pero, sabi nga ng rule natin, kung walang definite article, then do not supply the definite article. So, just to be faithful with the translation, instead of using of you, we will just use the pronoun, the genitive pronoun your. So that means the sentence ego pisteo logon su means I believe your word. Now the possessive forms of the pronouns, that's mu and su, usually follow the word they modify. So makita po natin, no, example. So sinasabi diyan, pag gumamit po tayo ng mu at saka ng su, ang kasunod po niyan ay yung noun agad or yung word na kanya minomodify. For example, curious mu a pen. Okay? Curious mu a pen. So here you have my Lord said. Okay? So word po yung curious. Okay? And then mu. Yan po yung possessive pronoun natin. So curious mu means my Lord. Okay? Yan po ang ibig sabihin yan. Ang a pen po, yan po yung verb natin, which means said. So makikita nyo, no? So basically that is your personal pronoun. Okay, kadikit niya po agad yung noun na kanya po minomodify. Alright? More on the third declension. So stems in tau and delta. So naalala nyo po, no, yung ating pag-aaral nung nakaraan about sa tau and delta. Ito po ay mga dental. So ibig sabihin po, when you pronounce these words, example, tau o yung ta, t. Diba? So, yung ating pong lips ay medyo nagpupush po sa back ng ating upper teeth. So, kaya po siya tinawag na dental. So, in chapter 10, we learned the basics of the third declension. There are a few more patterns we need to learn. Although these patterns are still governed by the same rule. So basically, ito pong makikita natin ngayon ay alinsunod lang doon sa pattern na meron na po yung pinag-usapan po natin in the last video. So stems ending in tau or delta behave the same way since both letters are dentals. Remember, dentals, tau, delta, and theta drop out before sigma. So ibig sabihin po niyan, kung meron kang word, okay, na nagtatapos po sa theta or sa delta, okay, or sa, nagtatapos sa tau or sa delta o sa theta. Tapos yung kasunod po na word niya ay nagsisimula naman po sa sigma. So ano po yung rule natin? Natatandaan niyo pa po ba? Diba ang rule po natin, we will omit, tatanggalin po natin yung mga itong mga dentals na ito, then ididikit lang po natin yung word doon sa sigma na kadugtong po na o kasunod ng word na yon. So for example, makita natin dito no, the word carit, okay? This means grace, all right? Dito po galing yung salitang caritas. Alright, may kita nandiyan din yan mamaya. So, ito po ay phot, okay? So, photo, okay? So, photo, ito po ay ibig sabihin nito ay light. So, ayan, phot, that's PH. This is, tawag dito, omega, and then, tau. So, photo, ito pong isa ay elpid. Elpid, it means hope. So carit means grace, photo means light, elpid means hope. And po, sark. So inaral natin to, body, flesh, yan po ang ibig sabihin na yan. No? So tingnan natin. So we have here the singular cases and this one is the plural cases. Tingnan po natin na. Let's start with carit. So caris, kita nyo po, dapat originally merong kang tao dyan. Pero dahil po yung sumunod na letra ay sigma, so tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, we have to remove ito pong tau. So instead of saying carits, ang sinasabi po natin ay caris. Alright, next is caritos. Okay, caritos. Okay, sorry, that's caritos. Okay, and then ito po, kinip natin yung theta, yung tau because yung sumunod po na word ay Omicron. So hindi natin kailangan tanggalin. Next is cariti. Cariti. Okay? So ito po kita nyo, again, you have an iota here so no need to remove yung tau. Next, accusative singular, carita. So caris, caritos, cariti, and carita. For the plural form, we have carites, cariton, carisi or carisin, all right? And then ito po yung movable nu na tinatawag, no? Carisin and then caritas, okay? Or caritas, sorry. So caris, caritos, cariti, carita, carites, cariton, carisi or carisen, and then caritas. Caritas. Next, light. Ito pong phot, okay? Or photo. First, phos. So nakita niyo po, drinap natin yung tau, no? Dahil ang sumunod po na letra ay sigma. Next is photos, photi, phos. So may pansin niyo po pareho lang yung nominative at saka yung accusative, no? The form. So phos and then phos. Next, for the plural form, we have phota. Next is photon. And then phosin or phosi. And then also phota. So may, again, similar po yung nominative plural at yung accusative plural. Right? So that's for the word photo. Okay? Or phos. Yan po yung kanyang lexical form. Okay? Ito rin po sa carit. Yan. Caris po ang kanyang lexical form. Now, let's move to elpid. So, hope. So, siguro dito galing yung ano, no? Ayan, nandiyan yung elpidio. Yung mga ganyang pangalan. So, tingnan po natin, no? LPs. So again, delta, dahil sigma siya, we remove the delta, so it becomes LPs. Next is LPDOS. LPDOS. Next is LPD. Next, LPDA. And then sa nominative plural po, you have LPDES, LPDON, LPSIN or LPC, and then LPDAS. So again, basahin ko po ha. LPs, LPDOS, LPD, LPDA, LPDES, LPDON, LPSIN, elpidas. So again, dito po nawala yung delta kasi nga you have a sigma right next to it. So we just omitted yung delta. Dito tayo sa sarx, okay? For meaning flesh or body. Sarx. Okay, next sarcos, sarki, sarka. And then sarkes, sarkon, sarksi or sarksin, and then sarkas. Okay? So listen carefully. I'm gonna read all these words once again. Okay, so tandaan po natin. Practicein nyo po ha. Just read after me. You can pause this video para kayo po mismo basahin ninyo. Caris, caritos, cariti, carita, carites, cariton, carisi, caritas. Next, phos, photos, photi, phos, phota, photon, phosin, phota. Next, LPs, elpidos, LPD, elpida, elpides, elpidon, elpisin, and elpidas. Next, sarx, sarcos, sarki, sarka, sarkes, sarkon, sarksi, and sarkas. Okay? So, practicein nyo po ang pagbabasa ng mga yan. So, next, we move to consonantal iota stem. So, ito po, medyo komplikado lang ng konti, but makikita nyo po na hindi naman siya masyadong nagmamatter. Consonantal iota stem. So, pistis, meaning faith, appears to have a final stem vowel of iota. So, ibig sabihin po, kaysa sa original po, no, ito, nag-i-end siya sa iota. So, yung kanyang stem vowel. Okay? So, ang iota yan sa dulo, no? So, kita nyo po, nominative singular, pistis, pisteos, piste, pistin, and pisteis, pisteon, and pistesin, and then pisteis. So, makikita nyo po. So, the word pistis, again, it means faith, appears to have a final stem vowel of iota. So, makikita nyo po yung mga iota dyan. Alright? Now, originally, that iota was another letter called the consonantal iota. This letter dropped out of the Greek alphabet long before Hellenistic Greek, but the fact that is used to be present helps explain a lot of apparently weird behavior in both nouns and verbs. So, in the past, they have this separate letter that is called consonantal iota. Ngayon po, inalis na siya. Kasi inaaral natin, ito na po yung modern Hellenistic Greek. So ngayon po, it does not include yung consonantal iota. But the effect of this consonantal iota is still really felt, okay, in the words, okay, especially in nouns and verbs sa present Greek language po. So the final iota in pistis, okay, this one. So the final iota in pistis used to be a consonantal iota. Okay, ibig sabihin po, para siyang iota siya, okay, iota siya pero ang function niya ay consonant. 'Di ba? Ang iota po ay vowel. Okay, pero dito po kung titingnan niyo, it functions as a consonant. Okay, so kaya siya ang tawag po sa kanya ay consonantal iota. So when the consonantal iota dropped out of use, it was replaced with either an iota or epsilon. So not much of a change kasi consonantal iota siya pero ang ginagamit pa rin naman sa panahon natin ang iota. Pero in some forms ang gamit po ay epsilon. So on the one hand, it may not be important to know when it will be what, okay? Just recognize that the stem of pistis type words will end in either iota or epsilon. But if you really want to know, ito po yung rule. So tingnan lang natin very quickly. So if the case ending begins with a vowel, okay, yung ending niya, okay, ay nagsisimula po sa vowel. The final stem vowel is an epsilon. So tingnan lang natin para may example tayo ha. So ito po, yung genitive singular. Kita nyo po, it is read as pisteos. Okay, you have here a sigma, an omega and sigma. So ito pong stem ending na ito, okay, the omega and sigma. So makikita nyo po, omega is a vowel. So instead of using an iota here, ano po ang ginamit dyan? Makikita nyo, we use an epsilon. Okay? So again, kapag ang stem ending po ay nagsisimula, okay, sa vowel, instead of using iota, ang ginagamit po natin ay epsilon. So from pistis, naging pisteos. Yan po. Number 2, if the case ending begins with a consonant, then the final stem vowel is an iota. So going back to the chart here, makikita nyo po, ang stem ending po natin dito, okay, ay nu. So hindi po epsilon ang ginamit kundi iota. So kung ang dulo po, again, ang stem case ending ay nagsisimula sa vowel, ang gamit po ay epsilon. Kapag nagsimula po siya sa consonant, ang gamit po natin ay iota. Alright? But in the dative plural, an epsilon precedes a sigma. Tingnan natin yung dative plural. Ito po, itong part na yan. So kita nyo po, in this case, dahil siya ay sigma, instead of using an iota, ang ginamit pa rin po ay epsilon. So this one is a special case. So only in dative plural na natin hindi ina-apply yung rule na sinasabi natin dito na pag nagsimula yung stem ending sa vowel, epsilon ang gamit. Pag hindi, iota ang gamit. So pagdating po sa dative plural, the rule does not apply. And so finally, all nouns with stems that end in consonantal iota are feminine. Okay, so meaning to say, yung noun po na pistis, meaning faith, okay, other form niya ay pisteos. Ito po ay feminine noun. Alright? Okay, yan po ay babae sa Tagalog. So two final patterns. Here are the paradigms for pater. Okay, pater, it means father, and hudor, okay, which means water. Ito pong word na aner, which means man, and mater, okay, which means mother, are also parsed like pater. So, ibig sabihin itong word po, aner and mater, okay, mater, okay, is parsed as pater. Okay, so tingnan po natin, nominative, the singular cases, and then the plural cases. Tingnan po na. I'm gonna read, just repeat after me or later pause nyo po para ma-practice tayo. Okay. Pater, patros, patri, patera, pateres, pateron, patrasin, okay, or patrasi, and then pateras. Okay, again, pater, patros, patri, patera, pateres, pateron, patrasi, or patrasin, and then pateras. Okay, next naman po itong hudor, meaning water. Okay, hudor. Okay, hudatos. Pag nakita nyo po yung tono, ibig sabihin yan po ay neuter. Okay, yan po ang ano niya. Kasi yung, di ba itong he, feminine. Tapos yung, ito po ay masculine. O yung ho. Okay, masculine. So, ibig sabihin po, pag he ang nakita ninyo, that means it's feminine. Pag ho ay masculine. Pero pag to, ito po ay neuter. So, again, hudor, hudatos, hudati, hudor. Hudata, hudaton, hudasi or hudasin, and hudata. So, bakit po who? But may H? Kasi nga po, meron tayong rough breathing mark dito. Ibig sabihin paloob po. So, we will just add H at the beginning of this word. So, let me read them again. Hudor, hudatos, hudati, hudor, hudata, hudaton, hudasin, and hudasi, and then hudata. Hudata. All right? So, very quick summary. All right? So, a personal pronoun is a word replacing a noun. The English personal pronouns are I, me, I, my, me, we, our, us. So that's for the first person, and you and your for the second person. The case of a pronoun is determined by its function in the sentence, person and number by its antecedent. So again, antecedent means the noun that is replaced. Number 4, most of the forms of these two pronouns are similar to the case endings you already know. So concentrate on those similarities. Number 5, dentals drop out before sigma. So ano itong mga dentals na to? Ito yung delta, uh, yung tau, alright, and then yung theta. So ito po yung mga tinatawag natin dentals. And number 6, pistis, okay? Pistis type words o yung mga words na similar sa form, okay, ng noun na pistis, end in consonantal iota, which now appears as iota or epsilon. So these are the things that we have covered in our lecture today. So if you have any questions, so just go ahead and send me a message. Once na nababasa ko po yung inyong message, I'm gonna reply as soon as I can para po ma-address ko yung inyong question. But again, we have read a lot of words here, so I want you guys to repeat those words, practice para po masanay tayo, no? Tanda natin and remember the forms. Okay, yung diagram po na pinakita natin. All right, in this lesson I included some vocabulary para meron po tayo mga ilang words. So allow me to read them really quickly to you. Tapos kayo na pong bahalang magbasa ng mga meaning sila. Dito naman po iyan. So these are additional words for you. First, adelphos, okay? An. Next is aner or andros. Next, ecclesia, which means church. Familiar tayo sa word na yan, no? Ito po yung elpis or elpidos. Ito po yung kanina, yung hope or expectation. Next is exo. Dito, ito po ay ex, no? So, exo. Alright? And then, epi, o kaya ep or f. Okay. Next, hemeis. Next is thelema. That's thelema or thelematos. Okay, ito yung will or desire. Will means yung ano, yung pagnanasa, pagnanais. Yan po ang ibig sabihin. Next is ide. Okay, so it means see or behold. Right? And then last one, last slide, you have ido. So same lang, see and behold ang ibig sabihin. That's an interjection. Next is kalos. Okay. Next is meter or metros. All right. Next is ude. And then pater or patros. Next is pistis or pisteos. Next, hudor or hudatos. Next is humeis. Phos or photos. Caris, caritos. And then hode. Means here. Meron kang H sa simula because you have a rough breathing mark here. So it means you have to add H. All right, so that's all for today. Yan po ang ating lesson 10, lesson 9 sa ating pong Greek. This is quite a short lesson. Please go through the lessons again. I'm gonna upload this material as soon as I end this class para po ma-check nyo na rin po. Pero yung video po, it will be a little bit delayed. It will be uploaded sometime next week. Yung video po nating isa, ma-upload na po siya. So please, bear with us. Thank you po for joining, for watching this video today. And I pray you have a blessed day ahead. God bless you and see you for our 10th and last lesson sa susunod po na Sabado. God bless you. Goodbye po.